The final game week of the season is here, and if you're unsure who you should be bringing into your team, don't worry, I've got you covered with the ultimate transfer targets guide in today's video. Before we dive into today's transfer targets, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has supported the channel over the course of this season. Massive shout out to you guys. You know, we're closing in on 4,000 subscribers, so if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that like button, comment, and of course, subscribe one as well to help this channel grow throughout the summer. We will be making Euro content. There will be the build up to next season, and of course, the full kind of package will be going as well for next season. The only place I feel we have to start is with Gvardiol and potentially Man City options for game week 38. Obviously, this is quite dependent on whether or not they can win the title or not. I feel if they've potentially maybe got it wrapped up, we might see some rotation and maybe some of these players might not be as good options. But if the title does go down to the final day, I think everybody on this list is, you know, an absolutely cracking player to go and pick up for game week 38. Obviously, Gvardiol, the popular pick at the moment, or it's going to be probably one of the most transferred in players this game week. 4 goals, 2 assists for him, a mega haul against Fulham with another game as well still to play in double game week 37. 60 points for him, absolutely astonishing. City as well, pretty strong defensively as well, so helps him out in that regard as well. 60 points over the past 5 game weeks, like I said, has been cooking and a really solid option to be going out there and picking up. Now, people were obviously debating whether or not he's going to see some rotation. If you look at everyone else on this list, he's got the best minutes. You know, the form that he's in as well, basically playing as a right mid at times as well within this City side. So I think he's an absolutely quality pickup as well to go and buy for game week 38 as well. I think this is the big if City still need to, you know, kind of confirm the title. If not, I think there might be some more exciting options that you potentially could go for in terms of the defensive options. Moving on to the other players, Haaland, pretty self-explanatory. Then KDB and Foden. I do think I would prefer Kevin De Bruyne over going for Phil Foden. Both of them very equal in terms of their goals and assists, kind of just flipped around. Both have the exact same points as well over the past few weeks, but KDB's data is absolutely destroying Phil Foden's in terms of overall goal involvement over the past 5 game weeks. So I do think KDB is the better out of the two for Manchester City's final game against West Ham. Interestingly, with West Ham United as well, they have been one of the worst defences in the league over the past 5 game weeks. But who knows what could happen on that final day. I think it is all dependent on whether or not City still need to go and win the title, because if they don't, I don't think necessarily it's worth going out and bringing in any of their players. We might see some rotation. I imagine we'll get some early team news as well from the likes of FPL Tony, Main Road, those types of accounts as well on Twitter. As well, there will be a deadline stream next week. So if you want to find out about that team news, do come along to the deadline stream. But for me personally, I think Gvardiol is a very good option to go and get. Same with KDB and Foden. A lot of us already have Erling Haaland as well already within our sides. But I do think it is dependent on whether or not City are still playing for the title before you go and make your transfer for next week. Moving on to Tottenham Hotspur, I think this team is going to have a lot of eyes on it in game week 38. They're taking on Sheffield United, obviously relegated from the Premier League, have been the whipping boys as well this season, have conceded over 100 goals as well. So I think, you know, just that painting, that kind of word painting that I've put together there for you probably suggests why we're going to talk about Spurs players and why I think you should be potentially bringing in any of these boys as well. Son obviously is going to be the main one, the popular pick, but recently performances haven't quite been there from him. Again, watching the Burnley game today, I wasn't overly impressed. I definitely think, you know, there are better options out there. I just couldn't get on board with it. I just didn't think he looked at the races. Now, that's me and my personal preference from an eye test perspective. Overall, if I was to pick a player to realistically go for this week, Son is like the no-brainer for Spurs. He is the key man. He is on penalties as well, so he probably is the one to go for. But from an eye test perspective and recent performances as well, I think it's been quite dreary from him. Interestingly, though, a player who did catch my eye today and could be a super differential for the final game week of the season is Brennan Johnson. I thought he looked absolutely terrific on the left, then switching over to the right. Could have got himself a goal as well as an assist today. Still another game to play against Manchester City as well. So maybe if he puts in a strong performance in that one as well, definitely could be a player that could be entering a few people's minds come the final game week of the season if you are looking for a differential. Then the final two players are defenders. Again, Van der Veen scored an individual solo goal today that I don't think he's ever going to replicate in his life in the Premier League. I think if you were to go for one of the two defenders and expect more consistent attacking returns, or again, another attacking return next game week, I think Porro is the boy. He was getting in some absolutely fantastic positions throughout the game, throughout the whole course of the game as well, where Van der Veen just kind of had that one moment of brilliance, took his goal very, very well, no questions about that. But in terms of long-term kind of expected more kind of chances, I would say Porro is higher, has a higher probability of getting those goals in next game week. So yeah, for me, I think he would be the defender that I would go for. Like I said, Spurs still have, you know, potential European football on the line as well. So Porro definitely entering the conversation as well with something to play for. I think obviously if City have wrapped up the title, he potentially could be one of those players that you do go for over the likes of Gvardiol, with Spurs still having something to play for and playing one of the worst teams in Premier League history in Sheffield United. But I definitely think there's going to be a lot of eyes on Spurs, like I said, at the top of this segment. Son probably is the most sensible and normal pick. I think outside of that, Porro as well is a very, very good player to select. Brendan Johnson is the differential I do like from Spurs. So if you are thinking down that route, maybe going to have a little bit of fun on the final game week, I think he could be a great player to go and pick up in game week 38. And the final section of today's video, I want to talk about players I think that could absolutely explode in game week 38. Nothing kind of team specific really, although we've got 3 Palace players on this list. I'll explain through everybody on here why I think they potentially could be really good assets. Obviously, we're looking at Mohamed Salah first. Potentially could be his final game. It's going to be Klopp's farewell game as well. I could see him cooking in that one against Wolves, to be honest. They've kind of, you know, stagnated, I'd say, over the past few weeks. Definitely, you know, kind of on a little bit of a dip, probably already on the beach. Liverpool probably want to go out and win this game. Mohamed Salah as well, as a farewell to Jurgen Klopp, go and absolutely demolish Wolves as well. So I think that one could be a really good one. He's a currently a player I've got on my list. If we get early City team news, maybe KD Bill Foden's benched, I'm thinking about making that switch to Mohamed Salah personally, because I think, you know, final day, all that kind of, you know, romantic kind of football god sort of narrative, I think that's where it comes down to for that one. Recently as well, Liverpool are top for XG created over the past 5 game weeks. They've been one of the best attacking teams in the Premier League as well. I think they've been super unlucky in quite a few of their games, especially Mohamed Salah as well with some of the data. He is putting up only 1 goal from 2.52 XG as well. So probably Liverpool and Salah do deserve some goals on the final day, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Right, let's talk about Crystal Palace. We're going to start off with Mateta first. He has been cooking, hasn't he? Since he's tucked in the shirt and the Wenger boys have been playing at Selhurst Park, he is loving life. They've got Aston Villa on the final day. Not the easiest fixture, but I think Glasner has got them cooking at the moment. Mateta as well, a very, very solid option if you are looking for a forward on the final game week. Maybe go and have a little bit of fun. Enjoy it while it's there. 5.1 million for him. 6 goals, 1 assist over the past 5 game weeks as well. Obviously, double game week 36, is it? Or 35, 36, I think it was. That's massively probably skewed things for Crystal Palace, but yeah, all good stuff. No, it was 34. It was 34. Game week 34 where Mateta absolutely slapped. Is probably skewing his statistics here, but I still think he's a really good player to go and pick up. Picked up another goal as well today. Palace offensively with Eze and Elise are just cooking at the moment. Really, really good side to watch. Very attacking and an absolute joy to own their players in FPL at the moment. In terms of Eze and Elise, I think it's very, very hard to call which way to go with this one. Obviously, Elise has picked up more points over the past 5 game weeks, but as you can see, you'd probably have to argue that Eze is slightly edging him in terms of expected goal involvement, but Elise has picked up the more attacking return. So again, it swings and roundabouts with this one. I think both of them are great assets. You're probably best just flipping a coin. Whichever one you prefer, gut feeling, maybe a little bit of eye test, watch some highlights, watch some games as well from Crystal Palace this season. See which one you prefer with that one, because for me, both of these guys are fantastic options and could absolutely go and slap it in game week 38. And then the final one is Ollie Watkins. He's had a terrific season, as have Aston Villa as well. Obviously dropped out of the Europa Conference League in midweek. They don't really have anything else left to play for. I think they've pretty much secured top 4 football already for them. Watkins still could get the golden boot as well. Haaland blanking today. If he blanks in midweek, you know, maybe City win the title. We might see him potentially rested for Julian Alvarez. So maybe Watkins could be in with a shout, end the season really well. Obviously, him and Villa not been the greatest over the past few weeks, but they could end the season on a high, and Ollie Watkins could walk away with that Golden Boot award. So that's my current thinking with that one. I do like it as a potential little bit of a differential, but you know what? I think the other lads on this list are much better options. Let me know what you think of my transfer targets down in the comments section. If you've got any questions about your team as well, get them in, as I will try to answer as many as I possibly can. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck this game week.